The SRX car has officially fully been revealed. NASCAR might be less lenient on intentional spins, and it looks like Kevin Harvick is going to be running the Bristol Truck Series race and a few NASCAR Xfinity Series races here in 2021. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. We got a lot of NASCAR stories to discuss here today on the channel, as I've not been able to film a NASCAR news video over the last couple of days as my work schedule hasn't really busy the last couple of days. I'm going to be doing a really big catch-up video for you guys today on all the NASCAR news we've missed. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Let's start off with all the paint scheme news that has been announced over the last couple days. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Let's start off with Ty Gibbs' 2021 Pristine Auction Scheme. This paint scheme, in my honest opinion, I really like a lot. I like the sleekness of the car. I like the white, the black, and like the checker pattern as well on the car. I think it looks really, really excellent. Ty Gibbs this week going to be looking to win his second straight Xfinity Series race and do that once again. I think he could have a good shot at doing that. I really overall do like this paint scheme a lot. It looks really, really awesome, and it's really, really cool to see that he will have Pristine Auction on the car here at Phoenix International Speedway. The next sponsor and paint scheme announcement was Worth, as they're going to be sponsoring Brad Keselowski for 3 races here in 2021 this weekend at Phoenix International Speedway, at Dover, and they will sponsor him at the Charlotte Roval. They actually announced this back a week ago, and it's really cool that Worth is once again basically stepping up to the plate and sponsoring Brad Keselowski once again. Really, really awesome news for Brad Keselowski, and great to see that Worth is stepping up to the plate and sponsoring Brad Keselowski there for 3 races this season. The next sponsor announcement was Pit Boss Grills, as they have a new deal with Stewart-Haas Racing to become a primary sponsor for Aric Almirola starting at Phoenix, and they will also sponsor him once again at Atlanta Motor Speedway. This paint scheme, by the way, is really, really, really cool. I like the sleekness of the car. It looks really, really nice, and the colors contrast very, very well as well. Again, it looks like it's right now 2 races they're going to be sponsoring Aric Almirola, but there might be more this season. We know that Smithfield sponsored him for 25 races, and other sponsors like Go Bowling are probably going to sponsor it. But yeah, really, really awesome here. The Pit Boss Girls is going to be stepping up to the plate and sponsoring him in 2021. Very, very exciting news, and congratulations to him on that front. It's really nice to see sponsors that are willing to step up to the plate and sponsor a race car driver like Aric Almirola. The next sponsor and paint scheme announcement is Tire Pros, as they are going to be sponsoring Josh Berry and Sam Mayer in the A car for 6 races this year in 2021. I can't remember exactly what the schedule is for Josh Berry and Sam Mayer's schedule with Tire Pros, but it is really awesome to see that Tire Pros is stepping up to the plate, and they will sponsor him in 2021 for 6 races this year. Great to see that Junior Motorsports is continuing to pick up sponsorship in 2021, and great to see that Tire Pros stepping up to the plate. Again, I think this paint scheme is really, really awesome, and it's a really nice looking scheme, and can't wait to see it out on the racetrack in 2021. The next sponsor announcement we're going to talk about is Spencer Boyd's 2021 Dan O's seasoning scheme that we will see at the Pocono race during the Pocono doubleheader weekend for the Cup Series. This truck's car looks really, really, really awesome. I like it a lot. It looks really, really cool. The colors are great. The black and the red work together very, very well and match up in a great way. And it's really, really awesome to hear that they will be sponsoring Spencer Boyd in 2021 at Pocono International Speedway. The next announcement is we're going to talk about CarShop. Is they're going to become a primary sponsor for Austin Cindric this year. Now, for those of you who know, CarShop is part of the Penske Automotive Group, so it makes sense that CarShop will be sponsoring Austin Cindric this year. It was not announced how many races that they are going to be sponsoring Austin Cindric this year, but it's really, really awesome here that CarShop is going to be stepping up to sponsor Austin Cindric. I think Austin Cindric deserves to get sponsorship. The dude's been really working hard this year. I mean, he just won the Xfinity Series Championship, so it is no surprise that CarShop is stepping up to the plate. Really awesome news here that CarShop is going to be stepped to the plate, and welcome CarShop to Austin Cindric here in 2021. The next sponsorship announcement is we're going to talk about is Crosby Brands, as they're going to be sponsoring Ty Gillen for 4 races. We'll sponsor Ty Gillen this year at Circuit of the Americas National Watkins Glen at Gateway later this year. Crosby Brands sponsored Todd Gillen last year for quite a few races last year in 2021. I think that's Bubba Mass's company. They were working to sponsor them this year. It's really cool that Crosby Brands is stepping up to the plate and sponsoring 2021. Congratulations to them, and great to see that Crosby Brands stepping up and sponsoring Todd Gillen once again in 2021. The next sponsorship and paint scheme news we're going to talk about is Moose Fraternity, as they're going to be sponsoring Chip Ganassi Racing and Ross Chastain for 2021 in several races. The number of races that Ross Chastain will have this year with that team has not been announced at this current moment, but Moose Fraternity will once again be returning to sponsor Ross Chastain in 2021. They sponsored Ross Chastain last year in 2020 was over at College Racing, and I don't know what the cars are going to look like when they do get released, but it is really, really awesome to hear the Moose Fraternity is coming in, and they're going to sponsor, and really, really great to hear that Moose Fraternity is stepping up to play and sponsoring in 2021. And in the final paint scheme news we are going to talk about today is we're going to talk about Bubba Wallace's 2021 McDonald's scheme that was just revealed a few moments ago. When the original renderings of this car came out, in my honest opinion, I really was not a fan of it. But once it was revealed, I actually really do like this paint scheme a lot. I like the red, I like the yellow on the car, and I like the white on the car quite a bit as well. And I think the black number suits this car very, very well as well. Is this my favorite 2311 scheme that's going to come out so far? No, I think the Columbia paint scheme has been the best one that they revealed so far, but this one is a really close second. I really like this paint scheme a lot. It's a really, really nice paint scheme, and great to see that McDonald's is once again sponsoring this team this year and stepping up to play sponsor McDonald's Bubba Wallace again. I'm not usually been a big fan of the Bubba Wallace McDonald's paint schemes, but I think that this one is an exception. It's really, really cool, and it's a nice touch and a nice paint scheme that we are going to see in 2021. I really like this paint scheme a lot. It is a really nice paint scheme and great to see that they're going to be sponsoring in 2021. And now we're going to go ahead and jump into all the other major stories we're going to discuss today on today's episode. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. I've not seen a lot of people talk about this too much, but David Restivo is going to be the crew chief for Cole Custer at Phoenix International Speedway. Now, for those who do not know, Mike Shipley was suspended one race for 2 missing lineups. If you have 2 missing lineups or more, I think you get a 1-race suspension at this current moment. So Mike Shipley will not be the crew chief for Cole Custer at Phoenix International Speedway. For those who know, David Restivo, I think, is the engineer currently for Cole Custer in the Cup Series in the 41 car. So it makes a lot of sense David Restivo is going to step up to the plate. I don't think David Restivo has any crew chiefing experience, so I think this is going to be the first time that he's going to be stepping up to the pit box to crew chief for Cole Custer. But yeah, this is really, really cool. David Restivo is getting an opportunity, and great to hear this news, and awesome news overall for David Restivo. The next news we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about Carl Edwards, as he's in the news once again for a very big different reason. Now, according to, I can't remember who the name is, you'll see it on the screen, but someone is saying that Carl Edwards is currently thinking about running for Senate in 2022 in Missouri. Now, for those of you who know, Carl Edwards was looking at maybe going for Senate as in the Republican Party to go up against Claire McCaskill in 2018, but he declined. But it looks like Carl Edwards is once again looking to get back into the political landscape. Now, a lot of NASCAR drivers generally have not had a lot of experience in politics, the only one being Richard Petty, who tried to go for North Carolina's Secretary of State back in the 70s and the 80s. But Carl Edwards is going to be jumping out. It looks like potentially could be running for Senate in 2022. This is really, really cool, to be honest with you. And regardless of political party, I'll definitely be voting for Carl Edwards. You kidding me? I don't care if whatever political party is. I definitely will vote for Carl Edwards for sure. But yeah, really, really cool that Carl Edwards looking at it. And hopefully he does run for Senate 22. It's not confirmed at this time, but his name keeps coming up in the conversation. And hopefully there is a potential opportunity that Carl Edwards could run for Senate in 2022. And now we're going to jump on to the next story of today's episode, as Akanori Ogata is going to be running part-time for Reunites Brothers in 2021, starting at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now, for those who know, Akanori Ogata has had select starts in the NASCAR Truck Series, I think for the Reunites Brothers, if I'm not mistaken, so he's going to be coming back to that team this year. Now, what are my expectations for Akanori Ogata this year? I really don't think Akanori Ogata is going to do much. Not saying he's not a very talented driver. I just think those Reunites Brothers trucks are generally not that fast. They generally run top 30. If they don't even get a top, I think if he even gets a top 30 this weekend, I think that's going to be really impressive overall for Akanori Ogata. But I think he just needs to get out there, get some laps, and get experience. And hopefully more sponsors will come and sponsor him, and maybe he'll run some more races in 2021. But yeah, really cool that Akanori Ogata is going to be running this year, and hopefully he can do very well this year in 2021. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the next story of today's episode, as we're going to go ahead and talk about some potential on new TV shows, a blockbuster TV show. Now, according to Adam Stern, NASCAR's Hollywood-based entertainment marketing division is trying to strike a deal with the major platform for a behind-the-scenes documentary that could rival F1's Drive to Survive Netflix series. Now, the platform has not been announced at this time, and the show has not been announced at this time. But for those of you who do not know, Drive to Survive is a fantastic show on Netflix. I've watched it many, many times, and I've become more of an F1 fan overall because of this show. I think it's a really good behind-the-scenes show, and it's a really, really cool show overall. This could bring a lot of new fans into NASCAR, because something like that engages new fans, and there's been a lot of new American fans that have become fans of Formula One. I think it's really, really awesome that this is potentially something that is coming up to play, and it'd be really, really cool. And yeah, definitely, whenever it does get announced, I'm definitely going to watch it. I would not be surprised if it does come on Netflix. It could also end up being on YouTube. YouTube has a lot more people on there than Netflix right now. But yeah, really, really exciting news. Definitely, I've been wanting something like this. No offense to The Crew. I think The Crew is overall a decent show, but I think it's something like Drive to Survive would definitely be a lot better engaging for the fans than something like The Crew, and I think it would give a more realistic approach than The Crew is. It's not a bad show, by the way, don't get me wrong, but I think that Drive to Survive would overall be a lot better. And now we're going to jump onto the next story of today's episode, as we're going to talk more about the National Fairgrounds. Now, according to Bob Packers, the National Board today, the Fairgrounds Board today, discussed National Fairgrounds. No dates have been set at this moment for the vote, but they're surprised by the mayor's LOI with the mayor's office. Number of races, noise, community impact is the main concern. Now, let me just say this for the recordness. Again, there was originally, I think, supposed to be a vote in June, but that vote has not been confirmed at the time. Last week, I talked about how the mayor, John Cooper, has had a level of interest in bringing the National Fairgrounds back to the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and the Truck Series, but nothing has been confirmed at this time. There has to be a vote. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is the noise concerns. Now, let me just say this for the record when it comes to the noise concerns. Why are you living near a racetrack if you're concerned about the noise? That track has been there for years. It's been 20 years since we've had a Truck Cup Series race there, and now you're going to complain about there potentially being a Cup Series race back there. Meanwhile, you're going to potentially have a Major League Soccer stadium there, and do you think that that isn't going to be a big problem either for noise? No, it's not, because they're trying to build an apartment complex right there. If you've been living there and you're complaining about this, then you should never have moved there in the first place. That racetrack has been there for so long, and the fact that that is one of the main concerns is absolutely ridiculous. I think it's just, in my honest opinion, stupid, and I think that that's something that should not be a concern. But that's just my opinion on that, and hopefully they do accept the board. I wish that wasn't really one of the main concerns overall for that. But other than that, hopefully they do approve this really, really soon, and hopefully we are able to see that really, really soon. I really hope, because I don't want to see Nashville get torn down or anything like that, and I hope the management is listening to me on that front. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the next story of today's episode, as we're going to go ahead and talk about Justin Carroll, as Justin Carroll is looking to run part-time in the Truck Series in 2021. It looks like he might be trying to run Richmond, Bristol, and Martinsville, and maybe a road course or a mile and a half. Now, Justin Carroll has a race team in the NASCAR ARCA Series that is running part-time this year. I think 6 or 7 races in the ARCA Series. Now, the main concern I have for Justin Carroll is there is currently, at this moment, there is no practice qualifying for those upcoming races except Bristol Dirt. So that overall is my main concern for Justin Carroll, because I haven't seen Justin Carroll race too much, to be perfectly honest with you, so I really can't give you a good opinion on him. But yeah, I hope Justin Carroll can race, and hopefully there's not more than 40 trucks. But the problem is there's been generally more than 40 trucks, and I have a really big concern for them overall. But yeah, hopefully Justin Carroll is able to race this year, and hopefully he's able to get that opportunity to race this year, because that would be definitely disappointing overall on that front. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the next story of today's episode, as we're going to go ahead and talk about traction compound. Now, according to Bob Packers, NASCAR is looking to apply traction compound at Phoenix in the same areas that they applied him last year. Now, if the racing is like it was in the spring, I'm really excited for that. Again, I've not overall been a big fan of the traction, but I think overall the only track that it really, really works at is Bristol. I'm not saying that Phoenix racing sucks. I think the package is definitely a big contributing factor to why the last couple of years before 2020 were overall really, really, really bad. But I'm very intrigued to see if the traction compound is going to affect the racing overall or not. It's very intriguing that traction compound is going to apply to the racetrack, and hopefully there is a good opportunity for them, and hopefully the racing overall is really, really good on that front. And now we're going to jump on to the next story of today's episode, as Devon Rouse is not going to be running the Bristol Dirt Truck Series event overall for, looked like, the Reunites brothers, as there's a couple personal reasons why Devon Rouse is not going to be racing. For those of you who know, Devon Rouse is the first driver that is LGBTQ support, so that's one of the big, first gay driver in NASCAR at this moment. Now, he said that sponsorship was one of the big factors, but he said there was personal issues with his family that were one of the big reasons. Now, he did say, responding to people, that he is looking to race at the Nashville Dirt Truck Series event, so he's not just out of racing this year. He just looks like he's not going to be running Bristol Dirt, which is definitely a really big shame for Devon Rouse, because I think the dude has definite potential. He's a young, upcoming race car driver. I think it overall has a big potential, and we need representation overall in the sport, in my honest opinion. But yeah, hopefully he's able to get sponsorship, and hopefully he's, like I said, he's supposed to be running the Nashville truck race. Hopefully he's able to do that, and hopefully Devon Rouse has that opportunity. But yeah, It is a shame he's not running the Bristol Dirt Truck Series event, but it is what it is, and hopefully he does get an opportunity to race later this year, because it'd definitely be disappointing overall if he cannot run later this year. It would be overall just definitely frustrating overall, to say the least. And now we're going to go ahead and jump onto the Cup Series and Xfinity Series starting lineups for this weekend's race. Let's start off with the Xfinity Series Phoenix starting lineup, as Daniel Hemrick is going to be starting on the pole for the race at Phoenix International Speedway. I think Brandon Jones is also going to be on the front row. Now, last week's winner, AJ Allmendinger, is going to be starting fourth, and Austin Cindric is going to be starting third. The driver I want you guys to keep an eye on for this race especially is going to be Austin Cindric, as he had won this race last time over here, and is generally really good at Phoenix International Speedway. He's actually my pick to win this weekend, because he's been historically really good at Phoenix International Speedway, and I think he has a really good shot of going back-to-back. I also keep an eye on guys like Daniel Hemrick. I think Daniel Hemrick's been really close to winning a race this year, and I think he definitely has a really good shot of winning here in 2021. Hopefully that is to be the case. And now we'll take a look at the Cup Phoenix lineup, as Brad Keselowski is going to be starting on the pole here at Phoenix International Speedway. Last week's winner, Kyle Larson, is going to be starting on the front row. My pick to win this race is Chase Elliott. I think he's starting a little bit farther in the back. He hasn't had always the best year so far in 2020, but I think that he will get it together here later this year, and I think that finally he will score his first win here in 2020 at Phoenix International Speedway. But like I said, Brad Keselowski is starting on the pole here at Phoenix International Speedway. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the next story of today's episode, as Brad Keselowski is going to be running a dirt series race, a late model race, as a matter of fact, at Charlotte National Speedway here this Friday to get some experience for the Bristol Dirt Cup Series event. Like I said, there's a lot of drivers that are going to be running a lot of dirt series events. We've seen a lot of drivers like Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, and even Chase Elliott and even Kyle Larson have been running some dirt races here not very recently. And I think a lot of guys that don't have a lot of that experience in dirt are getting some experience to be prepared for the Bristol Dirt Race, as it is a big event that is coming up, and there's a lot of questions around that event. I think it's very important that drivers continue to do this, and I think that Brad Keselowski overall, I don't think he's going to win. I don't know how much experience Brad Keselowski does have on dirt. I know he's ran the Eldora Truck Series events back a couple of years ago, but it's been a few years, I think, since Brad Keselowski raced, so I don't know how good Keselowski's overall going to do, to be honest with you, but I think it is really good to see that Keselowski's getting experience. There's other drivers that will be running some of these upcoming events so that we're going to talk about really, really soon. But yeah, Brad Keselowski running a dirt race at Charlotte, I think at the Charlotte half mile, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, very intriguing that Brad Keselowski is going to be racing that event, and hopefully he does very well and has a good run overall at the Bristol Dirt event. And now we're going to go ahead and jump onto the next story of today's episode, as Ross Chastain is going to be driving the 44 truck for Nice Motorsports at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He's reuniting with the team once again. I'll be honest with you, I think Ross Chastain, while I think that he has an overall decent shot at winning this race, I don't think Ross Chastain is going to contend. I think the Nice Motorsports trucks are generally not that fast. I've seen Brett Moffitt be competitive this year with that team, a little more than I thought he was going to be, but I'm not anticipating too much for Ross Chastain driving for Nice Motorsports this year. But good luck to Ross Chastain, and he's just out there getting some experience for the Cup Series. Good luck to Ross Chastain for Nice Motorsports at Atlanta. And now we're going to go ahead and jump onto the next story of today's episode, as we're going to go ahead and talk about the Las Vegas TV ratings for this weekend's race. So, according to Adam Stern, Fox Sports earned a 2.6 rating and 4.3458 million viewers for the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, which is off a tick from a 2.7 rating and 4.575 million viewers for the comparable fourth weekend slot last year at Phoenix International Raceway. Now, here's another interesting thing that Adam Stern reported. It got slightly higher ratings but slightly lower viewers than the NBA All-Star Game. The fact that we're really close to the NBA All-Star Game is overall really, really good. Again, this is, I think, the best the ratings have looked compared to last year. Again, it is sold down. I still go back to Daytona 500 being one of the big considerable factors to why the ratings were overall down. Vegas generally gets pretty good ratings overall. I think last year's Vegas race had like 1 million higher viewers but this race is the fourth race of the year, so it definitely made a lot of sense that the ratings are a little bit lower than that. But yeah, I thought the racing in Vegas was really, really good. I hope people can tune into Phoenix. I think the racing overall is really, really good. But yeah, that's some topic and discussion on ratings. Hopefully the ratings do go up this weekend at Phoenix. Hopefully we're headed in a more positive direction than a negative direction. This is basically the best the ratings have looked, because the last 3 weeks especially, the ratings have been really, really down in really, really big ways. Hopefully the ratings do look better for Phoenix, and hopefully we can see a lot of fans tuning into events. I think Phoenix is overall going to be a very exciting race, especially the spring one, which I thought was a really, really exciting event. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the next story of today's episode. We're going to talk about the SRX car that was revealed on Monday. The SRX car, in my opinion, it looks really, really awesome. There's things I do have issues with the car overall, and there was potential things that were going to be on the car I was not a fan of. There was potential that the splitter was going to be on the car, but they took that off when a lot of fan backlash. What I like about the SRX overall is the fans are getting involved a lot more in good ways and sometimes bad ways. The one thing I have an issue with this car is the little bulge on the top. I'm not a big fan of that car, but other than that, there's a lot of things about this car I generally love. I like the holes on the cars. I like them really, really good for aero's sakes. I also am a big fan of the wings on the cars. A lot of the inspiration that Ray Everhand talked about was it kind of inspired by the Dodge Daytona. It was also inspired by like the Ferrari F40s and like by some of the like the Plymouths and stuff back in the 1960s and 70s, and it was inspired by a 60s, 70s car. I really like this car a lot. What I'm really wondering is what are the colors of the cars going to look like? Are all the cars going to have different identities? Because I don't want to see the gray back in this car. I think this color looks really, really boring. I would not be surprised they do what IROC used to do, and they do different backings. I am a little bit concerned, though, because, again, a lot of these guys are past their prime. So that's one of the big concerns overall I have for the SRX. But I do think they'll put some good racing overall. These guys are like their 50s, and some of these guys are even in their 60s. I mean, the youngest driver in the field is Ernie Francis Jr. He's in his 20s. But there's not very many drivers in the field. A lot of them are in their 50s and their 60s, and that's one of the big concerns overall. But hopefully the racing is good overall. I still do have my concerns about the series being successful because I've been a little more skeptical over time as time has gone on. But hopefully the series can put on a really good show, and good luck to the SRX. And I definitely will be tuning in for sure on CBS, which these races are going to be on the main CBS right away, which is really, really exciting and great news overall on that. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the next story of today's episode, as we're going to talk about intentional spins. Now, according to Scott Miller, there was an interview that he did, I think, with NASCAR and NBC, and he actually mentioned, well, actually a NASCAR Series of 7, as a matter of fact, he actually talked about that NASCAR might become less lenient on drivers who spin out with a flat tire intentionally. Now, for those who did not watch the Truck Series race at Las Vegas Friday night, Kyle Busch, who I think was running second or third at the time, he actually had a flat tire. Now, going into turn number, I think it was coming off of turn number 4, Kyle Busch intentionally spun out. It was clear as day that Kyle Busch intentionally spun out. Now, Kyle Busch, in an interview with Bob Pockers had asked if he did that. He basically said no comment. He didn't want to say it because he was going to get fined. Now, NASCAR generally, when it comes to these issues, it's very hard to tell when you can tell if it is an intentional spin or not. So it's very, very hard to tell if it was an intentional spin or not for Kyle Busch. But it was clear as day for Kyle Busch that it was an intentional spin. There's been a lot of times, though, when it comes to flat tires specifically, that it's not intentional. I mean, one of the most blatant obvious ones is when Bubba Wallace, he spun out of Texas Motor Speedway during green flag pit stops, and he admitted it and got a 50-point penalty, I think like a $50,000 fine. He got a major, major fine. Had Kyle Busch admitted it, he would have gotten a major, major fine. Now, he actually had this really, really important quote that I wanted to, it's not the whole quote, but I'm going to read some of the quote that he said in this interview. He said, "What we can't let and what we will probably be more inclined to do moving forward is having a flat tire and trying to come down pit road is not an excuse in spinning, to basically spin out." Now, another perfect example is Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric, he had a flat tire, but guess what? He went around the racetrack clean. He didn't spin out to try to bring a caution out. He didn't try to intentionally spin to bring a yellow out and cause some confusion in the race. So I don't know what Kyle Busch was thinking. He probably wanted to have a shot to win, but he ended up winning going a lap time. So karma is a bitch, if you know what I mean. But Kyle Busch, man, definitely what he did, he probably would have gotten fined if he would have said something. That being said, I think NASCAR would do the right thing of penalizing drivers for doing intentional spinning to try to affect the outcomes of the races. I think had Kyle Busch admitted it, he would have gotten a major, major penalty. But that being said, it's very hard to tell because, like I said, it is very hard to tell. I think NASCAR is saying we're going to be less lenient on drivers spinning out intentionally. We've seen this many, many times before. I think William Byron also did this at the when he came back, when he had a flat tire. I think intentionally the first race back from the break after the pandemic, I think he also had intentional spin. So NASCAR overall looking at that, I find it really intriguing that they are looking at that and looking at intentional spins. I find that very, very interesting. And NASCAR, I do expect going forward, will be less lenient, and I don't think they're going to be as lenient on that front. And now we're going to jump on to the final stories of today's episode, as we're going to talk about Kevin Harvick and Ryan Preece. Let's start with Ryan Preece, as Ryan Preece is going to be running the 17-car truck for DGR Racing at Nashville and Pocono. Hunt Brothers is going to be sponsoring at Nashville, and the Morton Bills will be sponsoring him at Pocono International Speedway. Now, for those who don't know, Ryan Preece is a client with Kevin Harvick Incorporated, and they have association with SHR. It's clear as day. Riley Hurst drove for that team, and Kevin Harvick, we're talking about soon, is going to be running for them here later this year as well. I think that this is a fantastic opportunity for Ryan Preece. I think Ryan Preece is a very, very talented driver. And so far this year in 2021, running for JT Doherty Racing, he has impressed me a lot. I think he's had only one finish outside the top 20 this year in 4 races. He's been really, really good and very consistent this year with JT Doherty Racing. He just needs a lot of funding this year. And I think that this is a very good opportunity overall. And I think that this could potentially lead to something bigger this year. Ryan Preece is a free agent at the end of the 2021 season. And I've heard some interesting rumblings regarding JT Doherty Racing. And there's potential that Ryan Preece may not come back next year, regardless of how he performs this year. Same situation with Matt DiBenedetto. Last year, I thought that Ryan Preece was going to go to Stewart-Haas Racing, and that is still very potential that he may be working on something in the future and going over there. But what are my expectations for Ryan Preece with this organization, DGR Racing? I think that Ryan Preece needs to do very, very well this year, show he has a lot of speed, and show what he's got. I think he needs to try to at least finish in the top 10. If he wins a race with DGR Racing, I think teams need to be definitely looking at them, because I think he has a shot of contending for wins for sure with this team. I know DGR Racing is not the fastest organizations, but if you put a good driver in their cars, I think overall that he's going to have a really good shot. Hopefully Ryan Preece can perform very well. This is really, really exciting opportunity for him overall, and hopefully Ryan Preece can perform very well with DGR Racing in 2021. And now we're going to jump on to the final major story of today's episode. As it was announced today, we talked about last week that Kevin Harvick was rumored to be running the Bristol Dirt Truck Series event for DGR Racing. Well, that rumor actually came true today, as Kevin Harvick is going to be running the Bristol Dirt Truck Series race in the number 17 truck for DGR Racing this year. It also was announced today that Kevin Harvick is going to be running Circuit of the Americas, Road America, and Indianapolis Road Course for Stewart-Haas Racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Now, the number and the sponsors have not been announced for the Xfinity Series, but like I said, Kevin Harvick is going to be running those specific events here later this year. Kevin Harvick has not raced in the Xfinity Series since 2018. He basically left after his blatant comments after Darlington. He's not raced there for 3 years, but he's going back into the NASCAR Xfinity Series to race a couple races. Now, what number do I think Kevin Harvick is going to have? The numbers I'm looking at right now are the 0, the 00, or the 41 right now, or the 14 too, because the 14, is Tony Stewart's number, and Tony Stewart's main number they ran for a lot of the second half of his career was the number 14 car. The 00 I'm thinking about as well, because that's the number they've used before when they had Cole Custer in that team, and I think that it'd be really, really cool. Now, what are my expectations for Kevin Harvick in the Bristol Dirt Truck Series event? I think Kevin Harvick honestly might not be as good as people think he's going to be in the Bristol Dirt Truck Series event. I don't think he's going to run very, very well because, again, he doesn't have as much dirt experience as other race car drivers do. But I think it's really, really cool that Kevin Harvick is looking to get some experience. Like I said, I talked about Brad Keselowski a little bit ago. I think that Kevin Harvick getting experience will help him overall in the Cup Series. I think he's just out there to get experience. As for the Xfinity Series races, I think Kevin Harvick, honestly, could really contend in these races. Kevin Harvick does have a little bit of success on road courses. He actually has 2 wins on road courses, as a matter of fact. 2006 in the Cup Series at Watkins Glen, and 2017 in the Cup Series at Sonoma. And I also think he does have some Xfinity Series road course wins as well. So Kevin Harvick does have some success on road courses. And he's also had some Rolex and Grand Am experience as well back in 2002 and 2003 in the Rolex 24. So he does have a lot of road course racing experience overall. And he had a decent run of Daytona road course, I'll admit, not the best. But he's out there trying to get some more experience to try to go up against guys like Mark Truex Jr. and Chase Elliott in those events. But yeah, Kevin Harvick, man, running those events, I think he has a really good shot overall contending for wins. Again, you're going to have to be guys like Austin Cindric. You're going to have to be guys like AJ Allmendinger for sure. And even Ty Gibbs, who's going to be running those events as well. You're going to have to look out for those guys being contenders. But yeah, I think Kevin Harvick overall is going to be a factor in those races. It's really, really exciting to see that Kevin Harvick is having an opportunity to race in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and hopefully he can contend and has a shot. He's only running 3 races here, so it's not overall the most negative and most bad thing overall. So, wow, a lot of NASCAR news today, that's for sure. So, anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, notifications so you be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links description below for that. And comment your thoughts on today's video. What are your thoughts about Kevin Harvick running the Bristol Dirt Truck Series event and running Circuit of America, the 3 Xfinity Series races in 2021 for Stewart-Haas Racing? Let me know in the comments below. And what are your thoughts about all of the other NASCAR stories, like intentional spins being less lenient and other stuff like National Fairgrounds? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like so YouTube can recommend more of these great videos out to you guys. If you do that, I would greatly appreciate it. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.